NVIDIA looms large. Does that make or break whether your bullishness comes to fruition moving forward?
I mean, I know investors are really anxious, and NVIDIA has not performed well the last few times it's reported. But the story arc there remains that that is one of the most important companies in the world in the middle of the biggest structural change in the world economy. So I think NVIDIA still is a great story. It really wouldn't change our thesis if the stock reacted poorly.
You feel like there's become a little more AI anxiety, as we wrote at the top? You know, from Sam Altman at OpenAI saying that, investors are a little overeager about AI. Meta's reorganized again. They've stopped their hiring. There was another report today that suggested some of these Gen AI models are failing. You think there's anxiety in this market about this trade?
Well, I think everyone's trying to get situational awareness. Like, is this inning 1 or 2 or late innings? Because we know there's been a lot of value creation and a lot of capital that's flowed in. And we know that Silicon Valley has seen a boom of companies with $100 million annual run rates, like in record time around AI. And a lot of people want to ring the bell at the top. But to me, it still feels really early because there's such a limited number of stocks that public investors can buy that represent a direct play on AI.
I know, but that could lead to bubble-like activity, right? When your pool of investable opportunities remains so small, all of this money rushes to a select few.
Yes.
And then they have to live up to all of that hype and give a great return on these hundreds of billions of dollars that are being invested. That's not a risk?
Well, it is a risk. I guess that's really the next stage of what we have to see is how does the market accept now adding to the roster of direct AI plays, beyond just Figment. And I think, if we look at the next 12 months, there'll be a bevy of IPOs, some really big companies that are later stage. But if they're bought and they produce good growth and their stocks perform well, I would still say that still means we're early innings.
That's still your favorite trade?
I think it's the most important trade, yeah.
I know it's the most important. I feel like that's...
The China overhang, Beth. How much does it matter to the investor base right now?
Yeah, what I would say is all the information around China is important to consider. It is going to be a couple $2 billion impact one way or another. And there were so many sudden shifts going into this print around whether China was going to take that supply or not. But I would say ultimately any dip should be bought. And this is where, a broader view is extremely important right now. The market has never seen a product like NVIDIA's previous GPUs, Hopper, ever. Nobody in the tech industry has seen that before in terms of the amount of revenue it drove. Now imagine they have 2 generations of GPUs, Blackwell and Blackwell Ultra. They are simultaneously preparing to ramp. So this is going to be a back half loaded year for NVIDIA. And that piece, I would not let the China noise interrupt that piece.
Okay, talk to us about, therefore, the scale of the demand issue that they face. Everyone says this is not a demand issue. They've got plenty of it. It's always a supply issue. How much cannibalization goes on into ultimately what happens with the older GPUs? How much have you seen in your numbers and your data crunching real appetite and sales of the latest Blackwell architecture?
Yeah, to keep it simple, we still see alpha here. A year ago, I had put into print in an analysis, we would see a 50 billion data center segment by the close of this year. Analysts had 33 billion. Now, this quarter, with only half the year through, we're at 41 or 42 billion for the data center tomorrow evening. Wow. Meaning the likelihood we close this year at 50 billion data center is very high. Now, keep in mind, this is still happening for next year. Analysts are far too low, not only with their NVIDIA estimates, but their CapEx estimates. So we get to look at both things, right? We get to look at how NVIDIA is preparing to ramp these GPUs. And we also have a beautiful number around the demand in CapEx perfectly packaged for us. And it's blowing away analyst estimates as of 2-3 weeks ago when Big Tech reported.
So how big could NVIDIA become?
I have a 200 billion data center segment, over the next couple quarters. I think we see a 300 billion data center segment, which would translate to a $6 trillion market cap off Blackwell and Blackwell Ultra. I like to go by GPU generation. That's how I formed this thesis for 7 years. So Blackwell Ultra, we should see 6 trillion from NVIDIA. And again, on a run rate, 200 billion to 300 billion data center revenue. So I'm talking potentially another 100% between now and the close of fiscal year 2027.
But we're not even talking about Rubin, which, of course, Jensen Huang's been over in Taiwan talking to CSMC about already. So scale that again. Where do we go from the 6 trillion?
And that is where, that's a great point. And the one reason I haven't brought up Rubin is I would want to see more of the AI data center energy problem resolved. And that is where diversification within the energy area, these companies that can provide time to power is a great way to position once we go into Rubin, which will really push the upper limits of what the grid is capable of today.
Okay. So therefore, you're thinking about the power providers. You're thinking, though, even in these edge cases, there are other chip companies out there desperately trying to show their prowess when it comes to energy efficiency. Do you dare to go there, or is it more actually the underlying infrastructure?
I think it's a combination of looking at alternative forms of energy. And what I would say is that right now, we are all really focused on CoWoS capacity from TSM and the supply and the hardware side. Where the constraint will become is the power side. And that piece needs to be resolved somewhere between Blackwell Ultra and Rubin. And
so that is a bet on a GE Vernova or like a company that's going into nuclear, or is it somewhere else, Beth?
Bloom Energy is one that we've held successfully. They solve that time to power. Nuclear can take many years to build out. And again, we're really looking pretty soon here, as in like these GPUs are just going to sit on a shelf if you can't power them. Nobody wants that. Nobody's spending their CapEx for that reason. So Blackwell Ultra is really nudging the power supply deals we're seeing. But now Rubin's going to require it. And I think it's somewhere between, the next 1 to 2 years where a great AI portfolio is diversified with exposure to energy.
Christopher, what are your expectations? I'm seeing the street is estimating revenue up 53%, EPS growth of 48%. What are your thoughts heading into this?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My thoughts on NVIDIA, most important stock on planet Earth, it seems these days, and a big part of the market. What I'm looking for is just to see what exactly those margins are going to be, because I think that's really the question that we don't have an answer to going into earnings. NVIDIA is unique in that most of their key customers, the big hyperscalers, have all already reported. So we know from a sales perspective, this past quarter is going to be strong. Expectations are high going into Q3. And none of the hyperscalers have offered any indications that they're slowing any sort of AI-related spending. So just really want to watch that margin number to see if they can maintain those high levels. Consensus is looking for somewhere around 72% on the gross margins there. So that's one number we're keeping an eye on.
Okay, so that's the metric that you're going to be zooming in on. As far as the reaction, I've seen the option market shows that it looks like we could see a 6% implied move from NVIDIA's post-earnings reaction. What do you make of that? I mean, particularly as far as, setting the tone for the broader tech sector.
Yeah, we're entering into a seasonally tough time for the market. September and October are typically, not the best times to be in stocks. And I think NVIDIA has the opportunity, if they can, tell us that bull case for AI and the bull case for tech is alive and well, that can smooth things out. If they wobble, if there's any sort of questions, if they throw in any more sort of risk factors around trade, regulation, U.S. government involvement, things like that, the market's going to judge them harshly. I mean, this is a company that on a PE basis is expensive, but on a price to sales basis it's an incredibly demanding number at 30 times sales. So they have to keep the pressure on, and at some point they're going to run into the law of large numbers at a $4.4 trillion market cap. I don't know when that's going to be. It doesn't look like it's going to be anytime this year or next year based on the spending of their customers, but it's something we got to keep an eye on.
Absolutely, and we've seen imperfection gets punished in this earnings season, to your point, Christopher. Just wondering, the big wild card now that many are questioning, China. I mean, how much of a risk is this right now?
Well, it's certainly interesting that now they have to cede 15% of their sales from chips they're selling to China to the United States government. I mean, that's not great for margins right there. And there's also the back and forth as to the Chinese saying, well, we want to get your best chips. We don't want to get the, slightly detuned version that you've been selling us. But we are starting to see from some of our sources out there that things are picking up a little bit in China. So that could be a tailwind for not only NVIDIA, but the broader global economy as well. I think the one big risk factor I'd like to flag on NVIDIA, and I'd love to hear CEO Jensen Huang talk about, is just the US grid power infrastructure, because if they're going to keep selling the amount of technology that they are selling and that the street is forecasting them to do over the next several years, there needs to be somewhere to plug it all in. And I don't think there's enough spending on data centers, power, the grid to make this all work. So that's got to be an important piece of this puzzle too if you're an NVIDIA bull.
You raise a fascinating point because, as far as infrastructure is concerned, I mean, many say that the grid needs or is due for an upgrade there, particularly because something's got to power all these data centers. And if anyone is influential enough, it could be Jensen Huang, because as we know, as we've seen in the markets, as far as the reaction, when he speaks, things move. But I'm just seeing some price target boosts ahead of this earnings report from the likes of Stifel. We were talking about Baird also yesterday. It seems like the consensus is accelerating demand for the GB300 infrastructure. It seems that we are looking at, perhaps some pretty encouraging numbers on the GB200 as well. How are you looking at that in particular with regards to the Blackwell demand?
Well, I mean, in prior calls, it's been more about Blackwell availability than Blackwell demand. They seem to sell everything that they can make, and that's also why I want to watch those gross margins, because if there are any production issues or yield issues that they're having, that's probably where it's going to show up a bit. And the other thing we have to wonder is, what are the usable lives of all these chips, right? The customers are putting them on 3, 5, and 10-year depreciation schedules, but NVIDIA seems to come out with something new and better every 12 to 18 months. So how long are these going to be used? How long will they last? I mean, these are very high tech, high performance, high power chips, high energy chips, and none of them have ever run for 3 years at this point.
Yeah, you raise a very fascinating point. I mean, it's not been the demand story. It certainly has been the supply story for the Blackwell. Yes, we do need to keep that in mind. And particularly, when you look at just how fast things are evolving. And that's why Jensen Huang has also talked about, the potential for a China version of the Blackwell, also for the Chinese market. So the B30A, I believe it's been reported. So we have to wait for an update on that. I just want to broaden it out as far as the tech sector. As we look at it sort of more holistically, we did see a bit of a pullback as far as some of the big tech names last week. We did see this MIT paper. We saw Sam Altman's comments also about the fact that maybe we're entering a bit of an AI bubble. What do you make of those comments? And, particularly when you look at NVIDIA really sort of setting the tone for the broader sector?
Well, I don't think we're necessarily in an AI bubble. And in part, what gives me comfort is NVIDIA's customers and the big hyperscalers at this point out there. They're not fueling this with debt. They're fueling this out of cash flow. So they have the ability to keep spending and keep investing. But I do think at some point, and I think the engineers are starting to see this, is that we have to shift from trying to make the best, ultimate, shiniest, most exciting product, whether that's general artificial intelligence, to shifting towards things that companies can show are actually creating more efficiencies, saving money, eliminating workers, and they're just driving that overall, return on this investment, which has been massive so far. So I think if NVIDIA's customers and the software companies and tech in general can show the benefits to all these new features and new products, if they can do that, then we're not in a bubble. But if this is just an expensive party trick, or as some have said, just a little bit of a shell game, then it will be in a bubble. But I think the productivity gains and the efficiency gains are there, and it's just doing what Silicon Valley has done so well over time, which is product market fit. They have the product, they have the market, and they just need to be able to relate it all together and do so in a way that drives value for customers. And if they can do that, I think tech can continue to be a leader. And it's really exciting to see that the administration is starting to be supportive of tech, because they're realizing it's our best export and our most dominant industry in the U.S.
Yeah, it certainly has become one of a national security issue, which has been fascinating to see some of the developments, and particularly around Intel. Our story, I suppose, is the broadening out of the AI trade, and I suppose that all comes down to, what we're likely to hear also from NVIDIA tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I mean, having a Wednesday announcement with NVIDIA right smack dab in the middle of the week will really set the tone for the end of the week. But don't forget, Sam, we also have PCE coming out on Friday. We've got non-farm payrolls a week from Friday. So there's a lot of information that could be market moving. But I think the NVIDIA one, as you mentioned, is pretty important because when you look at the April 8th, April 9th bottom, and you see that NVIDIA basically doubled its value since it put that, $85 print in to where we're at right now, more than doubled, actually. It has rallied on this belief that there's continued spending and that's going to continue. And that, as we've seen with some of the other mega caps, they did not show much of a slowdown in terms of their AI demand spend or their CapEx. But it really all comes down to NVIDIA. They've had mixed news recently. I mean, you kind of have to look at that in terms of kind of what's come out of China, what they're doing in terms of their revenue share with the government, the 15% revenue share on the H20 chips. It hasn't been the greatest of news, but the stock continues to rally into what is almost an all-time high within a couple dollars away. So yeah, it's a pretty important print tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And particularly when you look at sort of that data center metric as well, particularly if, you've got to have more infrastructure to power all of that, whether, that could act as a catalyst for a little bit more sort of broadening out when you talk about utilities, etc.